Hello and welcome to the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony, my co-host right here, Mr. J.K. Heath, Kyle Heath. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Been a bit. This is the show where we basically cover esports and personalities, gaming industry-related news, new and upcoming games, and technology innovation. I feel like I'm getting better with the intro as the weeks go on and how consistent we are. And you are virtually petting your cat right now. But what we like to do at the start of every single episode is do like a bit of an update, what we've been up to. And without further ado, Kyle, why don't you start us off? What have you been up to?
Oh, this week. You know what I played this week? I played.
Hopefully something new.
For this? Oh, no. I hate to disappoint, you know? I played.
All right, what is it?
I got back in after a month and a half. Saints Row. Month and a half. Hop back on with my boy. We're very close to the end. We're actually on the last mission. So very close. But yeah, so we played that. I think we still ran into a couple bugs. It's still a mess. The studios like put out a couple of patches, I think, at most.
Of course.
But don't fret. New DLC dropped like, at the time of this recording, like 3 days ago. So
okay,
it is free DLC, totally free. It's a free update. But they are still doing content for it. So there's very much a plan there, I think. But
sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked it out. And honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest too, Mike. But even though it's out, and like when we beat the game, we're probably gonna take a break and move on to other stuff for now because it's kind of just yeah.
You probably have to because the game's been so buggy and everything you've like shown me from your recordings since the last time you played, really.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. And if it's any indication as to how much fun we've had, it's like been literal weeks apart from play sessions. So it's kind of just like, we get around to a weekend kind of thing. But but yeah, I mean, we're almost at the end. So we were able to do some side missions we weren't able to do in our last playthrough. Which so there's this one like side mission like trail you can go on. It's just like insurance fraud or whatever. So you essentially just go into oncoming traffic and try and like get hurt as much as possible, and you just rack up money. And like when we first did it, it just didn't work. Like cars just weren't there when we went to play the mission for whatever reason. This time it worked, and we were honestly like we were actually having fun with it. Like when we were playing, I was like, it was like some like I was like, this is like I don't know, this is really funny to me. Like just like building up all this like money and stuff, and so like that was like a really fun aspect of the game. And now we're like towards the end. Yeah, and we're seeing, and like there's like some plot twists and stuff that we're seeing on this last mission, and it's kind of just like. And like I was a little caught off guard by it, but I was also like, well, that's kind of like stereotypical. I'm obviously not gonna say what happened, but it's just kind of like, I think we'd been out of it for so long that like when we were ending it, it was like, oh wow, yeah. And then like when we thought about it afterwards, it's kind of like, it's like very basic. But anyways, the story is yeah, I guess to be expected from the level of technical prowess the game displays, but regardless, we're gonna try and finish it up as soon as we can. Just so we can move on and just like
wipe it off, like mark it off the list of games to finish, kind of thing.
Yeah. So we're like looking for other co-op games. I know I've been talking to him about A Way Out because like that's like one of the ultimate co-op games. It's like same people that did It Takes Two, which is one of my favorite co-op games of all time. So
I still haven't played that.
Yeah, dude,
I got a bug.
Good man. You could
make a note to myself.
I'm telling you, Mike. Look, I'm telling you. If you got someone, if you have someone in your life that doesn't play games too, it's even better. Just saying, because there's like literally every style of game in It Takes Two. I think I've been over this on the show before, but like the game's insane. Especially, it's a good introductory game too for people who like aren't into gaming. So yeah, highly recommend that. But yeah, so we're looking at A Way Out now, and it's like a prison break game where you're two characters and like you're trying to help each other like break out of prison and stuff. It's pretty cool. At least from what I've seen. So we're definitely going to be looking into playing that at some point. Yeah, so we're kind of just working on that list. Still doing the retro game stuff. I know
that's good.
I know for me, so this week I finally got that broken PS2 in the mail.
Nice.
I hooked it up just to confirm it was as listed. It was as listed. I tried 3 games.
Does not work.
I tried 3 games. 2 of the disc didn't read, and then the other one, it read like the initial kind of PS2 like logo when it pops up before it goes into the game, and then it was just black screen. So yeah, sure enough, it is broken. So I'm gonna be looking into that probably this weekend. It's probably gonna need a new laser. Fortunately, those are relatively inexpensive.
That's
But
good.
yeah, so I'll definitely end up getting that replaced, and then eventually, the ultimate goal, we're gonna put a. It's got a nice little expansion bay. I know you know the fat PS2 mic. It's got a nice little
Oh yeah.
bay at the bottom, perfect size for a hard drive. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna
Are you
be
you gonna put some retro games on there? Is that what I'm?
dude.
I see where this is going.
Let's just say I'm gonna get probably like 2 terabyte hard drive minimum. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, I'm gonna get a
Okay.
fat hard drive in there. So
Hey, you got what I got right now on my Xbox.
yeah, so
My
I
OG.
mean, I'm pretty much doing what you did to the Xbox. I'm doing to this PlayStation. So it'll
Be sick, dude.
it'll be interesting.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, that's gonna be Ultimate Machine, dude. I don't know. It's just cool, man. I literally like filmed. I like filmed the screen when I booted it up for the first time, just to, like make sure it turned on, and like there's something about the PS2 start screen, that atmospheric, like, dude, it's just,
Yeah.
it gets me every time. Like, I hear it, I'm just like, oh, it's just like instant, like, nostalgia.
Euphoria.
Yeah, like, for real. Those, like, dude, consoles, startup screens will, like, forever be, like, GameCube. Like, there's just, like, those are just iconic. I mean, most of those start
It
screens
really
are just
is.
like, oh, man. It's like,
GameCube's got to probably be the most iconic.
yeah,
Gotta
probably
be.
like the little thing. There's like different variations of it too. You could like adjust
Mhm.
like the sound and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, dude, even PS1, like the little like and it's like the white screen.
Yeah.
It's sick. I don't know. There's an art to that. And yeah, I don't. Does Series X have a start screen? I don't even know if I've like seen it.
Sort of. It's like a boot up screen. So it's the traditional Xbox 360. Like they had their first ever startup screen where they basically do
Right.
like the orb that wraps around the X comes through it.
Yeah.
Xbox Series X and Xbox One, they kind of have that too. It's like a different type of version of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no real sound. It's just like it happens
No,
really.
that's
The
upsetting.
sound is you turning the Xbox on. Does that like ding?
Yeah. Yeah, I booted up my 360 like a couple weeks back, and yeah, that like
Nice.
whoa, and then you see like the X wrap around. That's pretty sick.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then there's some of the older ones too. Just it's all pretty rad, dude. I miss that's one thing I miss about console gaming is just like the whole ecosystem, and I even saw a video recently on like remember the first Xbox 360, like what did they call it, like the type of UI was like, I don't want to say grid system, it was like the panel like system. I forget what they called it, but it was like the iconic like Xbox 360 like first UI.
Oh,
There was a
can't even
term for
remember
it, and it's like leaving my mind. I don't know what it was.
Well, Microsoft did it too, like on their PCs, didn't they?
I don't know. Can't remember.
It was almost like apps,
Yeah. Nice.
I think, or maybe I'm mixing it up. I could be wrong here.
It just bugs me, you know? It just bugs me. Hold on.
You're literally
I
pulling
gotta
it up.
look it up, dude. First UI. Can't type. Blades, that's what it was. The Blade
Oh
dashboard.
yeah, Blades.
Yeah,
that's
Blade
what you're talking. You're talking.
Yeah, with like the
where they made it look like a booklet.
yeah, exactly. And you like went through the tabs, and there was like themes and stuff. So if you got like, there was like a Gears theme that had like Gears backgrounds, a Halo theme that had like Chief on a couple. Dude,
I had all that, dude.
so sick, dude. I was like looking at the UI, it was legendary. But like, yeah,
I forgot about that, man.
Yeah,
that was
it's the OG
good times.
360 UI, and like I saw like a video where someone got I think they literally they bought like a sealed like 360, one of the big ones, like the Elites. A lot of money you spent on this. But like he opened it up, and sure enough, like the UI wasn't updated, so it had the Blade UI, and he was like really hoping it would, because he's like, dude, I love that UI, and so he opened it up, he's like, dude, thank God, and he's like, I'm not connecting this to the internet at all, like it's just staying.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I have another Xbox, and I don't an Xbox 360. It's a Halo themed one, the Halo 3 themed like ODST Xbox,
Okay.
or maybe it was Reach. I can't remember. It's somewhere in this place, and I don't think it's updated. So I wonder if that would go for any. Yeah, it's got the OG UI. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it'd be legendary. Dude. Go for a lot of money.
Set it like factory default or whatever too.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. But yeah, those themes were sick. Like I don't know, like the UIs like that, the old ones, just like rad. Because I think that was like the first time where you really had like a OS UI. It was kind of like it was a proper like OS on a console kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, dude. The nostalgia trip, the retro gaming, it's been a full force. So it still continues. In my
I'm glad you're getting into it. Yeah,
I mean,
because I was like fully committed, still kind of am. A little bit disappointed about what happened for the Xbox Series X and how it can't really be an emulator unless you pay for the developer mode. I'm sure I'll do that at some point, but it's not really a priority right now for me.
right? Yeah.
But I will say it was pretty sick to get on and start playing like Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
Getting in the Chow Garden, throw my little Chow around, try to get like a double Chow. Uh,
Dude. Oh man, I miss
good
those.
times.
God,
Yeah, it's good times, man.
good times, Mike.
Hmm.
But it's the modern day, huh? It's a modern era.
Yes, sir. It's crazy, dude. But I wish I actually played some games this week because I really didn't, man. I think you saw me playing Clone Hero as I was waiting for you to join the
Yeah, yeah.
Discord. So I've gotten better at that at least.
Okay.
But yeah, man, like I haven't really been playing games. It's playoff season for the NHL. We have the pod that basically takes up like an afternoon for us, and then I just have other stuff going on. So trying to make self improvements in my personal life, which
Okay.
is kind of taken
Okay.
away from gaming. The weather's gotten so much better, so I've been trying to be outside a little bit more.
It's hot. It's hot
And
out there. At least around here.
dude, it was brutal. I had a couple of couple of times walking home where I'm like, this isn't gonna be bad. It's only like 2 miles, right? 2 miles, 80 degrees, like 50,000% humidity. I'm like, dude, what is
Yeah.
going on? June and July is gonna be brutal.
Yeah,
Then
dude,
August is, I don't even
bad.
want to imagine it.
It's gonna be bad
But
summer, dude. I don't know.
hmm it's pool summer though. I'm gonna be
It's
at the
true.
pool and the lake. I'm gonna be
Okay.
tan.
Okay.
Oh man. Oh, it's gonna be
Okay.
sick. Oh
Bronzed
snap.
out.
I'm gonna be bronze. I'm gonna look
Easy.
like a straight up surfer
Easy
kid.
to look like the opposite of a gamer. Still a gamer at heart.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I'm always a gamer. I'm wearing CLG right now. By the way, compliments to your shirt. Is that the Air?
It is,
Uh,
dude. It's hard to see. Unless
it
I
is a little bit.
zoom in. Uh,
Space
SSG.
Station Gaming. Let's go, dude. I
Yeah.
remember seeing that in Charlotte. That was such a sick shirt. They ran out though. I was like, I'll come back for it, and then I came back and they sold out. I was like, dang it, man.
Yeah, I got this at a discount online because I think they were like, it was like, they were the design was like discontinuing. So
hmm Yeah, it was pretty sick though.
it's pretty sick, man.
SSGs should be good. Moist Esports should be good in terms of like success. But man, you see FaZe? I sent you the link, man.
We didn't even add that article in the show,
It's
dude.
not. I feel like it's too early for the rumor mill because it was just like Dexterra posting to Twitter.
Yeah.
But they said 4 of the founding members of FaZe are selling their portions of the business after the SEC filings of FaZe basically said they haven't made money in this century.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's been a lot
it's
of stuff.
crazy.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of lead up to that too about like members just being like vocal about like it just was not the same anymore and it hasn't been the same
Oh
for a
yeah.
very long time. And so they're kind of just like, yeah, it's I don't know, it's been consumed at this point by like corporate, like overlords.
Oh, for
So
sure. Well, when you have like celebrities, ball players, and all the like, a part of FaZe Clan now is either investors or representatives. You're gonna have to be really business about it. It's gonna get corporate.
yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
makes sense. But I mean, I've personally never really appreciated FaZe Clan's image. I think not really for me. But something that we should mention briefly is Devin Nash came out with a video of the title was something like "Who is watching esports?" Like who the target audience is, and he had a crazy breakdown on esports in terms of leagues and the viewership. Now, he talked about Call of Duty, and it has like the youngest viewership and player base out of any major esports title. It's something like the average age is less than 20, I think, which
Sheesh.
is mental.
Sheesh.
And then what was really crazy too was he talked about CS:GO and how CS:GO's average age was like 24 or 25, which basically leads you to believe that the dog's barking, which leads you to believe that CS:GO is still thriving and they're still bringing in like a younger audience.
Yeah.
But
I haven't even read the first article yet, man. What's going on,
yeah,
dude?
well, I don't know.
We haven't even
You
gotten
ranted.
into it.
You ranted for 10 minutes. All right, I ranted for 2.
Well, I'm just talking. I was talking about the dog, dude. Like,
Oh my
we haven't even
gosh,
gotten to the first article. My man is pumped up. Look at him.
there's no stopping him, man. I don't know what to do.
Well,
I'm gonna start moving daycare to Wednesdays. It's the only way.
Well,
let's just give it a go and see if he freaks out or not.
I was gonna say, I think some positive video game news could possibly calm the soul. So, that's how we get into it.
Let's go,
ladies and gentlemen. First article here. We're gonna get into it. It is Capcom. We're gonna get into this while the dog is being a nuisance. All right, Capcom just had its best year ever. They sold 41.7 million games. Pull this article from PC Gamer. Capcom's business is video games. Business is good, better in fact than it's ever been. Japanese giant published its end-year results on Wednesday, covering the financial year that ended on March 31st, and this has been, the best year in the vulnerable publisher's history. Capcom sold 41.7 million games over the year, a big jump from the 32.6 million it managed the year prior, and this is its new record for games sold in a single year. This in turn led to record high profit, as well as its 10th straight year of income growth, and major contributors were Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak at 5.45 million units, Resident Evil 4 at 3.75 million. Though, bear in mind, it's in the context of just 1 week of sales. That is obviously, those who don't know, Resident Evil 4, the remake, came out on the 24th, I believe, and this is, they're posting these a week or so after. So, although a lot of units sell in the first week, it's safe to assume that number is probably much higher at this point. That's still only 9 million-ish games, though, and Capcom says most of the remainder is catalog titles. Games not released in this physical year, and a spread across the Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, and Devil May Cry series. It says this accounts for 29.3 million game sales total, and the biggest contributors were Monster Hunter Rise, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3, 3.7, 2.25, and 1.95 million, respectively. 12.4 million of the sales were new titles, as well as Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak and Resident Evil 4. Capcom's other titles over this period included a new gold edition of Resident Evil Village, Capcom Fighting Collection, and the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. The purchases were overwhelmingly digital, accounting for just under 90% of sales. That's kind of dude. Mostly digital now, dude. Like a lot of these games.
Digital that's the future.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not gonna have physical copies anymore.
I mean, yeah, it's really going that way. So, it says after the results were published, Capcom's share price unsurprisingly went through the roof and hit an all-time high of 5,380 Japanese yen per share, which is just over $40. It settled down to more like 5,270 yen at the time of writing. Though that's still well above where it was last week. Capcom is feeling bullish and says it reckons it can beat these new records in the current financial year. No doubt Resident Evil 4 will continue to contribute to healthy numbers, and the big performers of this year will need to be June's Street Fighter 6, which Capcom has set an extremely ambitious target of 10 million sales.
I feel like that's going to happen, though.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
And Exo Primal in July. Capcom felt like it had a bit of a wobble in the late 2000s with some big projects emerging half-baked, and its then strategy of outsourcing IP to Western studios not always meeting with success, which is very true. Like, I feel like, especially with like the Resident Evil series, like when it got like towards like the end of the late 2000s into the early 2010s, it was kind of just like a lot of people were like, all right, dude, what is this? Like, this is not like the survival horror game it once was. Yeah, perhaps the emblematic title of the era was Resident Evil 6, a game where, in the absence of fresh ideas, Capcom packed it with so much stuff it basically topples over. And I'd say it's pretty accurate. The 2010s onwards, however, saw the company refocus on its core titles, rebooting Resident Evil and beginning the remake project. The brilliant Monster Hunter World and Rise, and the eventual excellent Street Fighter V. These results show one thing: if you make high quality games, the audience is now bigger than ever. Well said, I don't think I could have said that last part better.
Yeah. About time somebody said it.
You make good games, and
people will come back.
People come back. Yeah. This is almost I feel like it's almost contradictory to like we didn't cover it here, and I think it may have been after we it was either early last week or like late into the week, but I know Phil Spencer went on one of Kind of Funny's XCast, the Kind of Funny XCast show, and he actually was very open and honest about Redfall and its performance and how he felt like Xbox's position was currently. And you know, correct me, and someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of like, you know, these like huge titles like aren't what like isn't the main focus, especially for Xbox right now. At least, you know, it sounds like he may have not said that, but it was kind of along the lines of like, you know, these major titles, like, you know, it's not like it isn't going to be like the generational sellers or something along those lines, but like coming like Phil Spencer was very honest, and it was kind of, but it was kind of surprising, and I think for the most part it was handled pretty well. Of like, oh wow, like he's actually like, you know, like showing honesty, and he's not like holding back or anything. Like he's kind of just saying it how it is. He also went on to say that internal review testing, or like when they do like the review score testing before they release the game, was a lot higher than what was anticipated for Redfall. So a lot of people were kind of like, you know, that didn't really make sense how you guys were like rating it really highly internally, and then you released that. So everyone's kind of scratching their head at that. But
I'm scratching my head right now. What?
yeah, it sounded kind of weird. Like when he said that, it was kind of like, okay. But yeah, but like still commendable for, you know, Phil to do that. Anyways, I'm digressing. I think at the end of the day, if you make good games, you make good titles. I think you got a lot more people to play games now than you did back then. So you could you'll see some serious benefit.
Yeah, I think it goes into how if you have like a good enough game with this that builds a strong community around that good game, people talk positively about good games, right? So, I mean, it makes sense. The marketing can do like if you make the good game, it'll sell itself kind of thing because other people will be excited about it. They want to get their friends involved and have like more people like doing well. That's why I feel like CS:GO's done so good for the longest time. That's why I feel like even like say what you will about World of Warcraft, but it still has a healthy like player base that plays regularly,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show like if you make a positive, well-made game, people will show up eventually. What is it like the old adage of like if you build it, they will come kind
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah. Angels in
So
the Outfield. What was that movie?
yeah, yeah. I was like, that's definitely in a movie that I saw as a kid. Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
Just
Build the field, it will come.
so silly. Great movie though. Great analogy.
For real.
But it's pretty cool. Good for Capcom, man. I guess like they're just really popping off over there in Japan, which I mean, like that's the home base, right? So it
Yeah.
makes sense. Street Fighter 6 is supposed to be massive, dude. So I think their number for 10 million sales is probably gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
true.
been 7 years since Street Fighter 5 came out, so
I mean, yeah, this is the thing. Remake, like, so Resident Evil, bringing back Resident Evil 7, phenomenal game. 8 was okay. I think it was kind of just like, I mean, it was good, but I think a lot of people were just like, just whenever 7 came out, it was so huge, and like 8 came out, and it's kind of like the same sort of thing. And then, but you know, with these remakes, Resident Evil 2 remake, phenomenal, fantastic. Resident Evil 3 remake, very underwhelming, and like just kind of like they rushed it out. Resident Evil 4 remake though, they rebounded, and that game's fantastic. So and it was stayed true to the original title a lot, and really brought it to a modern era. So they're doing great things with these remakes, and I don't know. I think the Resident Evil series, I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with like Resident Evil 9 or whatever the next like mainline title is, because it seems like, you know, they're kind of towards the end of what feels like the main story. So it's I'll be interested to see what they do, but yeah, I mean, just that alone is huge. I mean, Monster Hunter, so many people play Monster Hunter, and especially like with Monster Hunter Rise, it's just like it has a huge audience. So does not surprise me. Street Fighter, I mean, come on, a Street Fighter, dude. What about fighting game people at, you know?
Sometimes I always thought like fighting games were kind of dying off, but every single time, man, it's like the tournaments might be kind of grassroots, but people still play, and I think they're always going to play.
It's very true, dude. Very true. You know, I have to ask you a question, Mike.
What's going on?
Do you think people are going to still play EA games even after this Activision Blizzard deal? Do you think they're still going to pop off?
Well, we know one thing for certain. He does not care.
Oh, they don't.
So this next article comes from Games Radar and Jordan Gerblick? Is it
Right.
you think Gur or Jur?
I feel like Gerblick sounds more like, I don't know. It's weird, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So Jordan over here at Games Radar published an article called "EA says it doesn't care if the Microsoft Activision deal goes through," and the quote is, "We'll continue to be the number one publisher on their platform." That's some that's some BD energy, dude. That's some BD energy. I'll say it.
It's so like wild hearing that, especially after like all the like missteps they've had in the past decade. It's kind of like it's so wild hearing that, but it's like, they may be
I, I
kind of
th-
true.
well, it's got to be arrogance, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
EA. Okay, so in the United States, they're like the two most hated companies or orgs or anything like that. Like the number one now, I think, is Wells Fargo. I think number one's Wells Fargo. Like it took its
Yeah.
place. Number two is Electronic Arts. Like they like go back and forth. It's like they one up each other. Like EA is just like, oh yeah, we came out with the battle pass, the battle like loot system, and Battlefront 2, by the way. Oh yeah, let's just ruin the entire game for you. And then Wells Fargo comes out and be like, oh, we accidentally charged your mortgage twice. Peace. You know what I mean? Like it's out of control between these two companies. And this man, EA CEO Andrew Wilson's just like, I mean, we don't really care. We'll continue to be the number one publisher for the platform. It's like, dude, come on. You need to calm down, man. Activision Blizzard isn't much better, but like EA has a lot of gall to do that, I think. All right, that's my take. Let's go ahead and jump into the article. So, EA CEO Andrew Wilson has commented on Microsoft's planned acquisition of Activision Blizzard, saying his company will continue being the biggest Xbox publisher whether or not the deal goes through. In EA's latest earnings call, okay, now that's why. All right, there you gotta boost it for the investors. All right, Wilson admitted he doesn't know whether Microsoft will end up owning Activision Blizzard, but assured investors that the end result of the buyout isn't material to his company. We think we have this is his quote. We think we have the scale, again, back to our network, our IP, and our talent to continue to navigate the future and lead the future of entertainment and compete in the marketplace regardless of whether that deal goes through or not. He and Wilson added that further industry consolidation is a near certainty and said he hopes EA will have the scale to be a meaningful consolidator in that space. Oh yeah, typical EA. Let's go out there. Let's buy this company, take all the best devs, and just completely destroy the IP that they owned.
Gotta show you something, Mike.
I'm getting
Who?
tilted.
Look, who published Jedi Survivor? Who did it?
Was it EA?
Electronic Arts. You see that?
Oh my gosh! You mean to tell me they actually had a hit? 1 out of 10? Dude, they're crushing
Fallen
it.
Order. Fallen
They're
Order.
crushing
No,
it.
no. See, here's my point. Fallen Order. Yes. Jedi Survivor. You PC port, Mike. That's all I'm gonna say. What is that PC port? Unoptimized trash, bro. You kidding me?
Yeah.
It was bad.
But you know what they're thinking, right? They're like, yeah, but how many did we sell? You know, it's not our fault they bought it, you know?
What about console? You know, what if we just, what if we just throw in some like dev text on like some screens and say, hey, like if you don't restart your save and put in some effort, then your game's gonna be completely screwed if you don't, if you keep going.
Dude, that was insane to see that. Like, continue on,
wild,
and
man.
your game's corrupted forever. It's like the Masingo or whatever it was, like the corrupted Pokemon in Pokemon Red on the Game Boy. It's like you go through this and it just destroys your game. It's like
It's wild, man. I don't know. Look, like EA, obviously they publish some good games, but even like their latest like single player entry, their marketing, like their flagship, one of their flagship single player entries right now, just was broken on PC, and like even console, I'm sure it wasn't as bad. Still, like it's like, dude, come on, just like don't. It just, I don't know. As a PC player, obviously there's a lot of like console people still out there, not knocking y'all. But it's like PC ports lately, man, been like, it's been rough. It's been rough out here.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about like. I mean, we're gonna go into the IPs that they have, and they're honest. He's honestly probably right that they have more of a player base than Activision Blizzard. at least for the future, because it's like some of
Yeah.
these just if you think about it, I think they actually lost FIFA,
Yeah.
so that's going to be a major hit for them in an international scale, just like in Europe or even South America. But when it comes to like the NFL games, like Madden,
Yeah.
like NBA, although they got to compete directly with 2K, but like NHL, man, NHL is popping off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's only
man.
going to get bigger as the sport
That's a good
itself
point.
grows. But I don't know, man. Should we
Yeah.
get back into the article?
Let's get
Continue on.
back
There's only
into
a
it,
few
dude.
more things.
Let's get
Only
back
a few
into
more
it.
things left. So Wilson continues on. He said, I think that we have a tremendous assets with respect to the future of entertainment, but as it stands today, I think we're indifferent as to whether the Activision Blizzard sale will actually go through or not. We feel like we have an incredible strategy. We feel like we have an incredible opportunity, and whether it goes through or not, we'll continue to be the number one publisher on the Microsoft platform. So, a little bit of context is provided by Jordan over here at the Gamers Radar. So, EA is indeed the biggest publisher for monthly active users on both Xbox and PlayStation, according to recent data provided by Ampere Analysts.
Okay.
The publisher is known for some of the most popular IPs in the industry, including The Sims, which is actually a
Dude,
goated game.
I forgot about The Sims. All right, that's a
Dude,
good point. I forgot about The
let,
Sims.
let me tell you something about The Sims real quick. And for anybody that's like just, I don't know, maybe people that listen to us, like they gravitate towards the same games we do. So we usually talk about shooters most of the time and like story-driven games on the major IPs. But like The Sims, dude, The Sims has mods now that you can do some crazy things in terms of like building homes. I've seen interior designers make entire YouTube channels off of The
I mean,
Sims,
dude.
and like they're crazy mods replicating real life places.
I mean,
Like
look, you
it's
want to talk
nuts.
you want to talk about a game that hits an ultimate untapped market in terms of gamers? It's The Sims, dude. There's so many people that'll just like
Oh,
only play The Sims or something like
oh
that. It's
yeah,
like, and
oh
it's just
yeah.
like they don't
Like
really play anything else. Like, dude, there's so many people that don't typically game, but it's like you give them The Sims and they're like they love it. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's a huge market that's like not the stereotypical like gamer, quote unquote.
100%. You know what's kind of interesting about The Sims in general is the people that I've met that only play The Sims, they seem embarrassed that they play The Sims. Like they don't want to admit that they're a gamer. Have you ever had that?
Yeah,
It
no, I
might
know what
just
you're
be
talking about.
my perception. Um, but it's kind of interesting, I think. Like
Yeah.
they're refusing to admit that they're a gamer almost.
It's funny.
So the popular IPs that they have is The Sims. They have Battlefield, which Battlefield 2042, which I believe we're going to be talking about shortly, finally made a comeback, which is pretty sick. Dragon Age, well, sorry, Battlefield's losing popularity, but the game is in a better state. So
Yeah.
hopefully people start coming back. That game has to have a big population or else it dies. So there's Dragon Age, Apex Legends, which I don't want to even give them credit for because they made that in the studio without telling them. It was a side project amongst the developers. A lot of people don't
Respawn
know
popping
that.
off.
Yeah, and then they were just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, here you go." So I think it was supposed to be Titanfall, but then they changed it up.
Yeah.
Then there was Star Wars, and then EA Sports games like FIFA, Madden, NBA Live, NHL, PGA, and UFC. So
A
they're
lot of sports
never,
games. A
yeah.
lot.
So Wilson's comments come as Microsoft and Activision face their most significant legal hurdle yet. 2 weeks back, the UK Competition and Markets Authority (CMA) blocked the merger. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
God, it's already been 2 weeks. Crazy.
It's kind of nuts. There were concerns that it would leave UK gamers with less innovation and choice, and Microsoft responded by saying the move was bad for Britain and pledged to appeal the decision in court. And the CMA followed up by saying the Xbox makers' argument was not borne out by facts. Now, before I get your take on this, just one little segment. I came across this article. I didn't check it, but it was a headliner. Holy crap.
Okay.
Let me see.
Okay.
I posted in the Discord. Let me try to find a real. Okay. Yeah. So Activision hires Queen Elizabeth II, the former lawyer, to lead the CMA appeal.
Legendary.
Like that is some type of money that's unheard of. You're like, oh yeah, well we'll get your get the God rest the Queen, or
God.
but Uh, get the old lawyer in there. I
That's
didn't even know she had a lawyer. Like, why does the queen need a lawyer?
a good question, Mike. I don't know.
She's the queen, dude. She's above the law in a legal, like a literal sense. Whatever.
I don't know, dude.
She is the law. Was, but yeah. God save the king. Coronation was last week or this weekend.
True. Oh man, all about
Yes,
EA,
sir.
huh?
So, yeah, EA. What's your take, man?
I think. Look, I mean, it's undeniable, right? 'Cause we could like we could sit here and be like, oh, it's EA. They've done a lot of bad things, but then it's like, okay, no, their IP's pretty big. I get it. They kind of have a right to say that, like to a certain extent, you know.
Yeah, when you add the context of all the other IPs they have, they're like, we ain't worried. We're just as big as Activision Blizzard. It's just like,
True.
if is that why both of you are like ethically immortal?
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, I'll let you go ahead and
uh,
give us more further
look,
context with this.
we
This
have
next
another
EA
article on EA, right?
spotlight.
Again, this stems from the investor call that we just mentioned in the last article. EA CEO says that Battlefield will come back in an entirely new way. Very, very interesting take there. As you know, Battlefield 2042 launched very poor. The rebound happened, about like I'd say like year later, buck 20, something like that. Like it happened. But as part of EA's latest investor report, uh, Andrew Wilson frequently spoke of Battlefield, acknowledging the difficulties that Battlefield 2042 faced during its launch. Wilson talked about taking ownership and building for the future of several of its major brands, notably Battlefield. He also believes that EA has the ability to bring Battlefield back in an entirely new way in the future, though he didn't mention what that means exactly. During Q&A session, investors asked Wilson about the progress of various projects related to Battlefield. CEO noted that we don't have any date announcements, but did say the following in a recent call with the franchise's new leadership team. He had extraordinary confidence in that team and extraordinary confidence in the progress they're making against the future of that franchise. He had nothing else to share on specific details, but did say that more will come when the time is appropriate. Wilson reiterated that Battlefield is firmly implanted in the EA strategy, saying it's building games and experiences that attract and entertain massive online communities across platforms, across business models, across geographies. And we think that Battlefield is going to be a meaningful part of our future. We'll share more time and share more as time progresses. Interesting. Battlefield 2042 wasn't the best received by fans, leading to the game failing to reach EA's expectations. The future of the series is entirely unclear, though, as we do know that Ridgeline is working with DICE to develop a single-player campaign for a future Battlefield game. The details on that are currently under wraps. So what do you think, dude? As we watch this gameplay of, it's like, I don't know what this is. Battlefield chronology. I don't know what this is. They're going through all the Battlefield games.
Battlefield's legendary.
It's good visual.
Across the board.
Yeah, the history of Battlefield. So, I mean, Mike, what do we think here? Do we think Battlefield's taking a new direction? Do you think they're going to try something new after this disastrous launch of the last game?
I don't. So the reason why the game failed, it's not fully failed, but like the reason why it was so poorly received at launch was how broken it was. I think they had a really good idea of like building in like environmental hazards coming through again, like having crazy storms, having a bit of a lore background and stuff like that. But I feel like you need the single player game, and you need something new to keep people coming back. And it's not just like, I don't know. It's hard to say, right? I think they need to just grab the best elements from all the previous Battlefield games and put it into one game again. So it's like, so Battlefield 2042 has like new age technology in terms of weapons. Like they have this gun that it's a real life gun where you can shoot like a bullet or a projectile and detonate it over a barrier. So if somebody's even like hiding behind walls or like behind corners, it'll blow up next to them and then take the person out. And they have like really intense sniper rifles. It was really cool to see. but they also missed key elements from like Battlefield 4. And one of the cool things about Battlefield 4 is you can have like a lead commander that oversees the entire battlefield and can look at different people's point of views and like direct them where to go as if they're like it's real war sim,
Yeah,
but in a
but
more modern present day. So it's like if you can build all of those elements together and make it work, I think that's like the key to success, but still maintain Battlefield as like when you play Battlefield, you know it's Battlefield kind of thing.
right, yeah. Yeah.
I,
There's a lot of different
I
ways they
don't
could
know.
take it, yeah. Yeah, I think a
Yeah,
worse route could be interesting. Um,
yeah. They can't be releasing games that are broken. Like we're
I mean,
past
yeah,
that now.
that's I mean
You
that's
can't do
step
that.
one, right? Um,
Mhm.
just as long they like, yeah, you could change it up as long as you have a fully fleshed out idea, fully fleshed out product. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think ultimately that's like what they need to focus on, just making sure everything is there and making sure that we're not pushing out garbage. Um, yeah, I mean, Battlefield, I'm curious to see it come back, and I'm curious to see like not necessarily come back because it didn't really like go anywhere, but like I think I'm gonna be looking forward to the next iteration, but it's also I mean when it comes to Battlefield at this point, it's kind of like COD. It's been like so overdone. It's kind of just like you get what you get kind of thing, and they would really have to do something different, I think, to garner like a brand new audience.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm entirely convinced, right? Because it's like COD has been trying to do something new for the longest time, and they just people keep getting more and more upset. I think they just need to reel in on what type of game they are. You know,
Bring back the arcade
it's
shooter.
like, yeah, yeah, like seriously, it's an arcade shooter. Let's have fun with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and latest entries, not very arcadey, I must say.
No, no. I will say if Battlefield can basically build something similar to like DayZ or Arma 3 mods and stuff like that in terms of battle royales and then like true war sim, they need to have like different types of settings and difficulties. Um, where it's just like seriously realistic. You don't have any compass. Like take it to like Escape from Tarkov
Oh my
level,
gosh, yeah.
but also have like a true battle arena kind of arcadey Call of Duty kind of game. Like
Yeah,
have all of that in one. Um, and then hopefully you can just figure out which one's successful with whatever the fans want. You just roll with.
be kind of sick. They just did like
Yeah.
one giant game. What if they did like one giant game on like two different engines? If that's even possible. Like they had like an arcade engine and like a real like war sim engine.
I don't think
Be
it. Yeah, I
interesting.
don't think it'd be. It's not impossible. I mean, it'd be a really big game. It'd be basically like what Call of Duty did, where they had their multiplayer PvP stuff, and then they had Warzone was the separate one.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I guess so.
I
I
just,
think
I swear those games felt differently.
yeah.
And that's I'm probably head casing, but like I would destroy people in shipment, and then go over to Warzone and it just felt like way slower. It's like kind
I'm
of kind of lame and like not as smooth. I don't
saying.
know. Maybe it
Yeah.
was a tick rate or something.
I don't know. Yeah, you have to do it right. But yeah, I think it's I mean, I think it'd be an interesting concept. I don't know. I mean, yeah, at this rate, I'm excited to see what's next, but at the same time, it's Battlefield, so I'll
Yeah.
be
Battlefield's gonna be Battlefield, dude.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Charu.
All right,
What
should
else is
we
hitting different?
is it is it the next article?
Is the next article, dude? Kinda
The
crazy.
next article. All right, so we got another one from the gamer, Lu Hai Liang. Liang? All I know is I probably pronounced Lu Hai correctly though.
Good, let's go.
So, let's go. So, this article is called The Xbox Series S Can Apparently Run Out of VRAM. Once again, the less powerful Xbox Series S is extracting the wrong sort of attention. You and I talked about this maybe like last year about how indie devs have been running away from the Series S.
Yeah,
And we never had a clear reason why. They were just like, it's hardware issues.
yeah.
Well, here's a little bit more background on what actual problems are there. So, Microsoft decided to do something very different for this generation. It decided to launch two consoles at once, one that took the crown for the most powerful machine and one that was smaller, cheaper, and less powerful. The idea was to appeal to the hardcore gamers with the Xbox Series X and sweep up the more price sensitive with the other. It seemed to pay off, especially as pandemic lockdowns led to component shortages and unprecedented demand for consoles. The Xbox Series S was in greater supply, and Microsoft won uh, plaudits? Plaudits?
How do I have
Applauds?
no idea? Plaudits? I don't know.
Okay, how about we do this? One praise from industry analysts as it sold the S and Game Pass into homes around the world. But as this generation has rumbled on, there has been persistent chatter among owners. First, seemingly just background slides by tribal gamers, but now becoming more vocal that the Xbox Series S might have some issues.
Oof.
Yeah, we're not too surprised by that. We've actually talked about how some of these games just can't run. Like the indie games are having difficulty and all this other stuff. So let's get into it. So over on the popular gaming subreddit, one recent post about the Xbox Series S has attracted major interest. And in quotes, apparently the Series S can run out of VRAM. It's titled and illustrated the point with a photo of a TV with an Xbox error message. And the message was out of video memory trying to allocate a rendering resource. Make sure your video card has the minimum required memory. Try lowering the resolution and or closing other applications that are running, exiting over a frozen image of Borderlands 3. Whoa, that's nuts.
Oh, dude, that's just funny reading that when it's coming from a console. That's so good.
It's a true computer now. That's something you would only see on like PCs.
Yeah,
Now it's
no.
like this just happens on console now.
Try low the resolution. Oh man, that's
Oh,
funny.
jeez. All right, so the article basically goes in to give context about what a VRAM is. So video VRAM stands for video RAM. It refers to any type of random access memory used to store image data for a video display, and its specific purpose is to ensure the smooth execution of graphics display. Looking at the specs of the Xbox Series S, it has 10 gigabytes of VRAM, of which 8 gigabytes are dedicated to games, with the remaining allocated to the operating system. In contrast, the beefier Xbox Series X has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm sure the operating system only really needs what 2 gigabytes.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, that is kind of significantly more. 4 gigabytes more is kind of nutty for VRAM. Um, so this seems significant, but it is important to remember that the Xbox Series S was always built to run games at 1440p at maximum, while the Xbox Series X targets 4K. Meanwhile, the memory issue related to the Series S is something Microsoft has known about, as the article from 2022 from The Verge attests, with the company attending additional memory to developers in order to ease the issue, extending additional memory. So I'm not too surprised by this, but I am kind of surprised by this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, how do you handle that? Because to me, some people don't even know this, man. Like most of the time, you can't even see your Xbox Series X and S at 4K or 1440p because you need like a 2.1 HDMI port on your TV to make it actually work, or monitor if you got one of those. But we need to, side note, we got to get rid of HDMIs for consoles and go straight to display ports at this point.
That's what I'm saying, honestly.
But
Um,
anyways,
dude,
um,
then again, Mike, when you talk about the HDMI standard is insane now. Do we use it
it's
on
pretty
like
nutty.
gaming PCs?
It has Ethernet.
Not really,
No,
but you know,
no.
HDMI 2.1 is kind of cracked. Just saying, HDMI is catching up. They were like 10 years behind, but they're on it, all right?
Yeah.
He's like, I
So
don't agree, but yeah.
so yeah, the Xbox Series S doesn't have enough VRAM. Basically, is the main issue. I thought it was going to be more along the lines of like computing hardware, like
Yeah.
with the AMD CPUs that it has. Maybe they just cheapened out. I didn't know it was like actual the VRAM, and yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
love it. It's like so. There's like a quote too, about the
oh, from
VRAM
the
issue
Reddit.
on Borderlands 3. It says this happens on Borderlands 3 all the time. That or just straight up freeze. That or a straight up just freeze crash. For some reason, it runs well on the Series S until it doesn't. Several crashes per lengthy game session. On Series X though, it's fine. He's like runs fine on the Series X, but yeah, they just didn't optimize it apparently on the Series S. So that's
Uh,
funny. And
That's pretty
that
tough.
probably goes back to our point of like, they the Gearbox could be in that wheelhouse of like, they were making the game and they're like, dude, why do we have to develop this for a weaker console? So they just gave up, halfway through, and they're like, whatever, they get what they get. I mean,
to your point, you basically got to launch it with crappier graphics, but then I'm sure Microsoft is like, no, you can't do that. It's like, dude, you literally don't have the hardware.
So, I mean, I think this is kind of the right why I think this is a good reason as to why like console generations should probably just stick to one tier. Like I get the appeal of trying to make something like cheaper for a wider audience, but like in the end, like it's probably just an additional barrier for developers. It probably slows down the velocity that they can actually put games out. So it may hurt overall. So I mean, that ultimately comes back to the decision of like, okay, do we actually like push back the limitations of our game for like cheap hardware? If Xbox was to say, let's just release like a $300-$400 console, may not be the most powerful thing, but it'll at least give developers one thing to focus on, so they can make the best product for that hardware. It's a weird balance, right? I think there's certainly appeal to having a weaker console, but it seems like devs just like are not caring about like the second option at this point.
Well, there is something that like we can totally roast Xbox for though, is why are they making it so like the GPU and CPU are different when they charge astronomical prices for expansion storage? You notice that?
It's true,
It's
yeah.
like why? And it's like proprietary. It
It's
has to be
proprietary, yeah.
Microsoft brand, like Seagate.
Yeah.
Like,
And they
so
lower the
we
prices
charge
of it.
more.
It's so
Yeah.
funny. After Backlash, they're like, all right, fine, we'll lower the price. So it's like,
Yeah, well, it came out, what was it, like another $150 or something for
yeah,
2
it's like
terabytes?
200 something, I think. It was a lot.
Dude,
200
are
something.
you
Now
out of
it's
your
under like
mind?
200 at this point, but yeah. Dude, it was a lot for their proprietary like storage upgrades.
Yeah, and they were just like, it's M.2 drive, NVMe. Like, okay, well, you can suck this NVMe. like, come on, man. That's too much money for freaking storage on a console.
That's what I'm saying. But like you go to PC, I mean, for like $80, I'm pretty sure I got an M.2 and it's like 2 terabytes. Like,
yeah, it is
crazy.
cracked. It's like super good, I bet.
It's insane, dude. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but that's one of those things where you're like, Phil Spencer says he doesn't care about selling consoles anymore. It's like, but you care about selling storage, apparently. Like, what the heck?
Well, it discourages people to buy consoles too, I think. You have like these astronomical storage prices, right? It's like, just get a PC. Yeah. But then again, the PC ports are bad, which in turn, if it keeps being bad, it's like maybe I should just go console. Like, it's an uphill battle.
This is why we just got to go back to the basics. Let's do retro.
That's why we go back to where it's good, where we know it works. You know what I'm saying?
I just stopped playing games that don't work anymore. That's just how I am. It is a shame, though, with this Borderlands 3 being an issue. That shouldn't be that demanding of a game from such a well-established publisher.
It's true, yeah. Borderlands is a good series.
It is. They know how to make games, so...
Yeah. Dude.
Whatever, man.
Crazy.
Let's get into the next one, though. What's happening? Tell the people what's happening in a couple of months.
Like, it's not even a couple months, dude. We're a month out. If that.
You're not wrong.
Month out. It's crazy. We're a month away from Summer Games Fest. Main events, that is. And Game Informer, as they did, I believe, last year when we covered this. They did. Game Informer broke the news of when the dates for the showcases were going to be for Summer Games Fest, and sure enough, this year they did it once again. Yeah, we're gonna go through. I'm gonna go through kind of like a list of all the main events you should look out for. Start off at the top. The June Summer Games Fest 2023 schedule has released. E3 may have been canceled again, but there are still plenty of showcases taking place this summer that will more than fill its void. Geoff Keighley's annual Summer Games Fest leads the charge in its main show, as well as a number of smaller presentations under its umbrella. Heavy hitters like Xbox and Ubisoft will broadcast live streams alongside more niche indie-focused events. To keep track of it all, here's the current schedule of events taking place this June, which will update regularly as new broadcasts are announced and solidified. Guess we're starting off June 1st, Mike.
Oh, it's the showcase, baby.
Sir.
The
Meta Quest Gaming Showcase. Meta is having their own dedicated showcase. It is going to be June 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The third annual showcase will feature over 40 minutes of exclusive new games coming to MetaQuest VR headsets, including titles debuting during a 15-minute pre-show. Nice.
Interesting.
Well, 40-minute MetaQuest to start off the event. That's June 1st. June 1st. I'm pulling my calendar real fast. June 1st is... What day is that?
3 weeks away.
Thursday, June 1st.
Yep.
Look at that.
4 weeks away.
Yeah. June 6th, Guerrilla Collective. It's going to be doing a nice little showcase. Start time is to be announced. Running from June 6th to the 13th, Guerrilla Collective and The Mix provide a platform of dozens of indie titles, both in live streams and at a physical event, in addition to the Guerrilla Collective online showcase. It also hosts broadcasts from partners Black Voices in Gaming and Games for Games. Very cool little causes there. Very cool little showcase. It seems to be it's gonna be going, pretty much most of the week. So gonna be some nice little showcases. I think I called a couple of them last year. They're pretty dope. So yeah, that is starting on June 6th. June 7th, the Tribeca Games Festival. You heard of Tribeca Films Festival? Well, this is the games version, baby.
Let's go.
June 7th. Start time is to be announced. The interactive side of the annual film festival highlights a small selection of upcoming games nominated by Tribeca. The 2023 nominees have not been revealed yet, but last year's show featured exclusive trailers and developer interviews for each selection. The event as a whole runs from June 7th to June 18th. Nice little runtime there. So yeah, a lot of things coming out of Tribeca. And Mike, it's the one we've all been waiting for, June 8th.
This is the real one.
It's the real one.
This is the one that we gotta. This one started on our calendars for sure, man.
Yeah, start on the calendars in the Discord, bro. In the Discord link in the description. But we're tracking all this. Summer Games Fest, the main showcase, June 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Nice little midday showcase for you.
Out in Los Angeles.
June 8th, for those that don't know, is a Thursday. So it's gonna be during business hours. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'll try and catch what I can. But yeah, that's
you can always catch the VOD. It's on YouTube. No
yeah.
worries. Start a little late.
It's in the YouTube theater, so it helps be on YouTube. Geoff Keighley's Big Summer Showcase unfolds live from the YouTube theater in Los Angeles. If previous years are any indication, expect a number of world premieres from AAA publishers and indie studios alike. But yeah, that's the main showcase, June 8th, 3 p.m. Eastern.
That's the main one to watch because E3 got canceled basically, and that was supposed to be the week after Summer Games Fest or something like that, or like the week before. So
something like that.
That's the new E3.
Sure is.
Better watch it.
Future Games Show, presented by Games Radar, will be following that on June 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Games Radar's annual digital showcase returns and will boast over 40 new game trailers, including world premieres. Again, June 10th. And as well on June 10th is also the OTK Games Expo. I think I called some of this last year, the little OTK org doing a nice expo. It's actually pretty cool. They did they even announced a couple of things there I thought were pretty dope. They even did an announcement for Smite skins, RuneScape Smite collab. I thought that was pretty sick. Smite fans.
Yeah, they had Twitch drops too, I think, as well, didn't they? Yeah, they had all that.
Hosted by popular Twitch streamer Asmongold. He's joined by panelists.
He's my favorite YouTuber.
Dude, he is. He's a good one. This man.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Panelist Imru and S1. The OTK Games Expo is a 3-hour event that shines a spotlight on 30 games. Yeah, it was pretty dope though. It was a pretty dope little thing last year. So
it was pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting much, and it really kind of blew me away when I saw it.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward for the repeat.
Yeah,
here's some
June
fire
10th.
ones coming though. Let's go, man.
Oh, June 11th, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about a Sunday. June 11th, the Xbox Games Showcase and the Starfield Direct to follow will be at 1 p.m. Eastern. Nice little Sunday there. A double feature begins as Xbox's big annual media presentation, which could show off any number of announced first-party games, as well as reveal a few surprises. Immediately following the showcase is going to be a Starfield Direct, which is a deep dive into Bethesda's ambitious sci-fi open-world RPG. And if the ESRB leaks are of any indication, it's going to be a good one. Am I right, Mike?
They had some topics that we're not going to talk about right now, but
look,
it's going to be adult content, that's for sure.
I'm
thinking Cyberpunk level.
Look, I'm excited. You know, Bethesda's recently published release was a different developer. So, I'm trying to be optimistic. Say I'm still looking forward to Starfield, It's going to be a banger. I'm excited for new RPG, especially Bethesda one. So, yeah, we will hear more on June 11th. Of course, following that will be the PC Gaming Show. It will be on June 11th. No time as of yet. PC Gaming Show is always it's like always a fun event. It's always quirky and stuff. So, yearly celebration of all things PC gaming kicks off, and the Microsoft events conclude. Previous shows suggest we should expect to see a number of titles targeting the personal computer, as well as some new hardware and accessories. Always cool there. But one that is interesting is Ubisoft Forward, that is set to follow on June 12th. No start time as of yet, but Ubisoft is among the first to pull out of E3, instead hosting a live Forward event that, according to the publisher, promises exciting news on upcoming games from our teams around the world. I'm sure we'll hear more about Assassin's Creed Mirage, that whole universe.
Yeah. Hopefully good news.
Maybe a little Siege. I don't know, Mike. I'm just saying, I heard some rumors that it actually might already be delayed. So we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Will maybe hear something about that. Maybe I know they already talked about some Division news recently. You probably won't hear too much on that. But there's a number of titles Ubisoft's working on. They have that shooter. Name's already leaving me. See, that's how much of an impact that had on me.
Ubisoft shooter?
Yeah, it was a new shooter they were publishing, and it was like from a bunch of COD guys. There were a bunch of the COD devs like working on it and stuff. I don't know why the name's leaving me. Anyway, it's a new shooter. If you're into COD, you'll probably like it. There's no skill-based matchmaking. That's all I know. I think Mark Rubin. X-Defiant, yeah. Mark Rubin is working on that. Mark Rubin? I think that's his name. One of the old COD guys, all right? He's working on it. He's head in the studio. There's even former COD players that are developers there. I don't know how familiar you are with COD scene, Mike, but if you know Aches, way back in the day, he was like COD. He was on like EG and a couple other works. He was insane.
We briefly mentioned that when we had basically an entire episode devoted to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He works there now. It's pretty sick. Got some old COD guys working at the studio now. Pretty dope stuff. But the Xbox Game Showcase extended is June 13th. They did a similar thing last year, where they essentially it was more in-depth interviews with the devs for the games that were announced. It's really cool to see that. I mean, it's just like a formal sit down, like, all right, but let's hear more about these games. That'll be on the 13th, starting at 1. I always watched some of the VODs of that last year because it was cool to like see some of the announcements. But especially after this year's, I'm hoping it's a good show, Mike. That's all I'm saying. I think last year was kind of just like, we're only going to talk about stuff that are coming out in the next 12 months. So like a lot of the bigger titles weren't mentioned. So who knows? Maybe hitting that territory now where it's like some of these bigger titles, you might hear some stuff about Fable, maybe.
I think we should. It's been a long time since Fable came out. So
we're due.
Man.
Hope so. Devolver Digital is going to have their showcase. There's no indication as to what date it'll be, but Devolver Digital, they always put out they put out those indie bangers, and their showcase is probably the wackiest of all of them. So it's like always pre-recorded and crazy, and but yeah, so they have a large portfolio of titles, and we're presenting them in the most unhinged ways possible. I look forward to seeing what shenanigans they have in store for 2023. True. The Future of Play Direct. If you enjoy gaming showcases with a Toonami-inspired anime vibe, the Future of Play Direct is for you. The event is hosted by Android VTuber Helios, probably saying that wrong, and features a selection of curated games, reviews, trailers, musical performances, and special guests. These are all like just undetermined, by the way, in terms of dates. The ones I'm about to list off. Upload VR showcase. VR fans looking to devour games. Devour Game reveals outside of just the meta umbrella. Can look forward to watching the enthusiast site's big show. Wholesome Games Direct, the coziest indie direct around, will be back this summer, likely with its usual boatload of laid-back, smile-inducing game reveals. There you go. That's that concludes the showcases that will be happening next month. We're almost at
So
that news.
crazy.
Dude, we're at that time like almost already. Getting these fat showcases. Crazy.
Dude, we're gonna have so much stuff to talk about in the next month and a half that these episodes are just gonna be popping off. So if you guys are listening, watching, just subscribe, get ready for it because Summer Games Fest, June release games. We got so many games just coming out in the month of May alone that we're probably going to be covering. Hopefully, there's some successful ones coming out. Redfall was supposed to be the first success of the month. That didn't really work. But Legend of Zelda's on the way. And all the announcements, man. I mean, we can just we're getting to that point where we can start theorizing as not leaks come out, but like little teasers,
True.
Yeah,
There's if you want to continue, Mike, before I transition you real slick like.
Well, I just want to ask you real quick, which one are you most excited for? Is it the Summer Games Fest?
Dude, I'm always excited for
Xbox
Xboxes.
Showcase?
Dude, Xbox, especially the Starfield Direct. It's like, they're kind of giving me the edge there, I think.
Okay.
Xbox Showcase. It's also on a weekend, so I can actually like sit down and watch it.
That's a fact.
I'm not interrupted.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's a fact.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very much, I always love the Xbox Showcases. They put it on that Sunday, and it's like I know I can just watch and enjoy. And yeah, we're gonna hear more about Starfield, which I'm super excited for, and I hope they go into detail with some of the game some more, show some gameplay. Very excited for that. So yeah, man, that's certainly the one I'm most excited for. But I mean, Summer Games Fest. I mean, I just the overall show. I mean, I'm gonna definitely catch the VOD if I don't catch the main broadcast. That's for sure. So I don't know. Those two are always the ones to look forward to for me. What about you, Mike?
I will say that I am most excited for the Summer Games Fest for sure. But I am most it's hard to say because it's like I want to see everything that Summer Games Fest could have, but it's mostly like 4 or 5 days kind of thing. Deal. But I'm really gonna be paying attention to Ubisoft because they've basically canceled everything or like pushed things back and delayed things and then fired like whole studios. So it's like that they're like in crisis mode. And the fact that Ubisoft is called their like direct conference forward, I'm like, okay, what's it about? Let's figure it out.
It's true.
It's got to be a ballin' presentation.
Yeah.
I think
they called it that last year. That's typically what they call their directs. They call them forwards. So.
I get that, but I feel like it means something different this time around. Because like you don't just delay all these games, fire like a buttload of your staff, and then act like everything's cool.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was your transition?
Hi, Mike. We talked about all these showcases, right? Talked about a lot of different devs, a lot of different publishers, a lot of different this and that. But there was one we didn't mention. What's the big name that we did not mention in this? That's the big question mark right now.
Oh, I think they make HVAC units. They make TVs. I think there was a Walkman that they made a long time ago.
Some even are like clamoring and praying that one day they take their flagship console and place it in one of their flagship televisions.
It's becoming the point where we're just gonna start. I say that almost every episode now. We're gonna do timestamps. So if I ever say that, we'll look in the comments, and if you have the right timestamp, we'll pin it.
True.
In the YouTube.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's our call to action.
Get on it. Get on it.
So we're talking about Sony, obviously.
PlayStation,
dude. Oh, you don't have the same advert as I do. Oh, it was a goofy one. I was gonna share in on it. So I got to get the ad blocker, whatever. So this article basically comes from Push Square, and I know we're a little bit over our usual time, but this isn't a long article, so we'll get right into it. So there is a rumor that the PlayStation Showcase could be around 2 weeks away. So, and in quotes from Sammy Barker, any day now. So there was an update to this article, so let's go ahead. What do you think? Read the update first. Let's just only read the update. So the update is the speculation continues unobstructed without official confirmation from Sony. Giant Bomb's Geoff Grubb, who's been beating the May PlayStation Showcase drum for a fair few months, has nailed down a week of May 25th window for the anticipated event. He also added that timing on PlayStation Showcase is of right now. He continued and said a week of May 25th because that's probably the latest that week it could happen, but it could happen earlier. I just don't know. I don't want to say week of May 21st and then people get mad when it doesn't happen on a Sunday. Clearly, Grubb has some kind of sources corroborating this window, but as we mentioned previously, it's unlike Sony will pin down a date until much closer to that time. Which is interesting to say because, like, it is 2 weeks away until May 25th.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But there are just a buttload of games being developed for the PS5 right now that we don't know much about.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Spider-Man 2. We're talking about the Silent Hill 2
Spider-Man 2.
remake. We're talking about Spider-Man 2, you know? There's a lot of stuff in the works there, so I mean, you know, they don't have a slate at all in Summer Games Fest. I mean, obviously, you know, the main showcase, they'll probably have some games, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, you know, a more in-tune direct, I think, is in order right now. And I think, but like always when they do these events too, when the state of plays, I always see it in like a tweet that's like 2 days before the event. Like they just like, oh yeah, this is in 2 days. So then they just kind of like, they announce it with very little time. But so I'm sure we're going to see that, you know, in the coming weeks. So yeah, we probably won't get much of a heads up. But I mean, yeah, dude, I'd love to see a PlayStation event though, to just kind of kick it all off. And I think it should be, I mean, that the week of the 25th, like right before Memorial Day weekend, I think it'd be like the perfect time to do it. So and just kind of get it in before everyone else, I think it'd be huge. So yeah, dude, Sony be making the right move here. They just drop it, you know, that week. I don't know, I'm excited, dude. It's showcase time, bro.
Yeah, it seems to be that the biggest anticipation for PlayStation fans is Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Castlevania are the 3 main ones that people are really wondering, like, hey, we need a showcase, we need a title, we need something.
Oh, dude, Metal Gear Solid, I didn't even think about that IP. Thought about that in a minute.
Yep. And it's like, also, you never know. Like, there could be a Last of Us multiplayer demo coming, Spider-Man 2, you already mentioned Death Stranding 2, like, could be anything, man. It is interesting that it's probably going to happen this month, though. So that tells us, keep in mind, keep your eyes open, and hopefully we hear something, you know?
I think we will, dude. I don't know, man. I'm excited for a PlayStation event, though. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of question marks right now. So we need answers, dude, as the consumer. You know what I'm saying, bro?
I know what you're saying, bro. But we are at articles, really. I think we covered just about everything. There were some other ones that were like little peaks here and there of just random news that I saw. Like PewDiePie managed to get banned from Twitch without actually streaming on Twitch. I don't know if you noticed, but like he had an account on Twitch and they were just playing through all the YouTube videos that he has, his entire catalog, and it was like an always on category. He was like consistently over 1,000. So ridiculous. You got Mr. Beast buying up an entire neighborhood. Not really. He bought 6 homes in a cul-de-sac up in Greenville, North Carolina, where
North
a
Carolina
house
native
there costs like 50 grand. ChatGPT is making extra like improvements, I guess.
ChatGPT. It's really, dude, like last year, like later last year was getting crazy, early this year, but now it's like I have coworkers using it. I have friends using it. I have people.
I've been telling you,
dude,
I've been messing with it.
Out.
I've been messing with it like all week. I'm just like testing out what it can do, and I had it do my entire budget for me in less than like 5 minutes. I just like copied and pasted all my information. I was like, make this work, and then it was like, here's what you do, here's what you do. It's like,
sure, here you go, Mr. Mad Mike. It's like spat out.
100%. Yeah, it was easy. We should mess around it and do GPT to write the description of this episode. See what happens.
That'd be kind of sick. Chat GPT wrote this show, wrote this podcast episode.
Heck yeah, Let's get it going.
Yeah, I need you to find me 6 notable articles in the video game industry as of right now, and see what it comes back with. And there we go. We cover it.
That's actually a point. Are we always doing 6 articles?
Yeah, 5 or 6. You know,
Yeah,
it just
I know
depends
there's
on
a couple times
it
we got
depends on the
7 or
depth of
8.
the article. Like if I get 5 articles and I'm like, man, I could probably get through these pretty quick. All right, throw a 6th in there. You know.
True. Well, interesting. Yeah, without further ado, I mean, there's so much stuff to be looking forward to going forward, in terms of new games, new showcases, and gaming industry stuff. I mean, oh, there is May 15th is the deadline for Activision Blizzard, I think. Is that right? For the FTC?
I think so.
One of them's the deadline. So next week's episode is definitely going to be covering that.
Yeah.
I can't think about it. We'll figure that stuff out later, not on the fly at the end of the episode.
Well, the evidence-based hearing is August 2nd. Anyway.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do the outro. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you want to check out any of the articles, we've noticed people clicking on them. We got bit.ly links in the bottom of the description of everything that we basically covered, went through. We also have our socials. We have Discord. You can come check us out. Listen to us, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you got to do. Check us out. We appreciate you. And without further ado, this has been episode 18. 18 weeks in a row, dude. Haven't missed. So we appreciate you guys for listening in. I'm Michael Anthony. This is Kyle Heath. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode of the M2 Podcast. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.
See you.